Welcome and thank you for joining today's webinar on information sharing and demand planning. During our presentation, we'll focus on how information sharing contributes to the goals of the company, the correct mix of real-time data and statistical model, how to improve your demand planning, and finish up with an SAP IBP systems demo. Next slide, please. Today's speaker is Shailendra Kumar, the Senior SAP IBP Functional Consultant here at Krypt. Shailendra has been an integral part of successful implementations of SAP IBP projects worldwide and has worked extensively in process design and configuration. On the next slide, I will go over some quick housekeeping tips. If questions come up during the webinar, please type them into the panel as shown in the example. We'll be addressing questions at the end of the presentation. If we run out of time and don't get to your question, we'll be sure to follow up with you after the presentation. On the next slide, I'd like to quickly introduce Krypt for those of you who are less familiar with us. Krypt was established in 2008 and is a leading SAP consulting partner. Although we operate globally, we consider ourselves a boutique consulting firm that lives by our founding principles of innovation, collaboration, and drive. These principles have allowed us to complete over 800,000 SAP consulting hours in various industries. Our services focus around implementations, upgrades, and customizations for various SAP solutions, including trade, transportation, warehouse, planning, IBP, and HANA. We also offer proprietary solutions, integration services, and work closely with SAP for ramp-ups and testing. On the next slide, I'd like to share some of our thought leadership. We strive to be thought leaders in the supply chain ecosystem, and we've accomplished this by authoring books in addition to writing blogs and white papers, which are available on our website. Moving to the next slide. This is an overview of our proprietary offerings, which complements the SAP suite. I wanted to briefly highlight Krypt Connect located in the middle of the solution list. This particular solution can be integrated with non-SAP ERP systems, which many people find valuable. Moving on to the next slide. Over the years, we've had the opportunity to work with a variety of companies within the SAP supply chain space, and some of them are highlighted here. And with that, I'll pass it off to Shailendra.
Thank you, Rachel. Welcome everyone for the today's webinar. So today we'll be starting with the agenda for the webinar is information sharing contributes to goals of the company, how an information sharing helps a company to achieve their goals. Then we'll be talking about some of the correct mix of near real-time data and statistical model, how a real-time data and a statistical model helps in achieving a better forecast model, prepare a better forecast model, and then how to improve your demand planning, followed by a system demo. There will be a live system demo, and then we will have question and answer. So before we start with why accurate data is a challenge, we all know demand planning is vital for any operation to be efficient and effective. And one thing that is as important as demand planning is information. Information drives demand planning. With today's globalized supply chain, it is difficult to get information accurately and timely. That can be used for demand planning. Information can be qualitative, it can be quantitative in nature, but for any business, it is important to use this information as accurately as possible so as to have a proper demand planning. Then why accurate data is a challenge? Let us address some of the key issues for a supply chain. In order to be cost effective and competitive, the manufacturing operations are relocating to countries which offer low labor cost, favorable taxes, government policies. So along with productions, the procurement distribution network and a lot of other processes also goes global, which results in increasing complex supply chain, global distributions, varied demographic demands, inconsistent data, lack of near real-time data, which in turn affects challenges involved in integrating legacy system or any third-party system to a single platform to carry out your supply chain planning. So we all know that how data flow plays a very important role in today's digital supply chain. Then data accuracy, real-time data helps business to get meaningful insights. Most of the time, businesses have required data, but then to get a meaningful insight using these data takes a lot of time, which often results in delayed or poor planning. Then the question is how to solve this. This is a high-level architecture where any third-party tool, for example, SAP APO, CRM, BPC, Ariba, any flat file, or any tool can be connected to SAP IBP via cloud platform integration. This cloud platform integration was earlier called as HANA Cloud Integration. Any form of data can be extracted to use it for planning purposes. Then SAP IBP can be used to perform different processes to perform sales and operation planning or demand planning, supply planning, inventory optimization, heuristics, optimizations, alerts. SAP IBP plays a very important role in integrated planning where salespeople, marketing people can give or share their insights. Stakeholders of a supply chain can share their thoughts, which help businesses in taking key decisions. A planner can share a file and access a file in PDA or a laptop. We will be seeing how each component of demand planning using SAP IBP helps in information sharing and also to achieve more collaborative planning. So this is a very simple demand planning process that we have that I'm showing right now. With the help of a single platform connected to different ERPs or flat files, data preparation becomes very easy to manage. Once a user has an accurate data with the use of different algorithm, data cleaning like removal or outliers or replacing the missing values becomes much easier with the use of an SAP IBP. And then the statistical algorithm, one can carry out forecasting at different level to analyze data. For example, a regional demand planner would like to see forecasting, would like to carry out the forecasting at the customer region, location, product at a monthly level, so they can carry out. So these are at different planning levels, you can very well carry out the statistical forecast. You can see the data at an aggregate or a disaggregated level. Then marketing or the sales people or even different supply chain stakeholders can take part in decision so as to publish this consensus demand plan to carry out supply planning or inventory planning. Each of these steps we will be seeing today along with planning, how IBP helps in monitor demand plan, which helps in taking some of the key decisions using different metrics. This is a simple supply chain design. In the left hand side, you can see there are two suppliers with one plant, and then you have two warehouse, 3 DCs and 3 customers. This is a very simple supply chain, and we'll be looking into the example of this supply chain in our live demo. So let's go into the system. Now this is a web UI you will get when you purchase an SAP IBP license. So I have designed this particular section for a webinar. So these are the tiles we will be looking into today's webinar. So let's quickly start with the manage process template. So one of the key things in order to share it across these stakeholders of the supply chain, see how the processes has been carried out or what all things has been done and how much it has been completed. So this becomes an integral part of an SNOP or a sales and operations planning. So let's go and look into it, how it helps in. So suppose we take an example of a demand review, which is the first step of any sales and operations planning. So let's take an example over here. In a month, you have a 4 weeks. So the first day of the first week, you would like to carry out your demand review. So when your first day, your first step would be taking all the master data and the transactional data from the legacy system or a flat file or an SAP ERP or S4H system and take this into an IBP so that you can start up your demand planning. So here you can see that I have created a group called as a demand. So a demand group is nothing but there are users who are solely responsible for demand review or demand planning. Then you can select here a start date. So suppose I want to start it in the month of 4th of November and end it by 25th of November or 30th of November. So in the 9th of November. So 6 days of demand review. And then you can select any of this. If suppose Saturday and Sunday is a holiday, you can select the 5 days of a week. Then you have a start step. You can just configure here like what all job templates to be carried out when you start your demand review and at what it should end up when your demand review is done. So suppose here the tasks are like, for example, corrected sales historical data. So wherein you will remove the outliers or replace the missing values. And then you followed by statistical forecast. So with the use of different algorithms, you can actually carry out the statistical forecast. And then you can take in an input of a sales and a marketing team. And with the finalized consensus demand plan, you can just publish it. And at the end, you will have a monitor demand plan. So here, if you see how easy it is to have your participant group, so actually you can just make it configurable. You can just configure it. Like for example, here I have done with a demand. So demand group is there. And in a demand group, what all people, suppose you have five demand planners in a demand group, and then you want to control corrected sales historical data with just 2 of the person involved in a demand. So you can do it with the participants over here. So this is how flexible it is to carry out the process planning. Then we will just go and look into the data integration job. So the very first thing that I've spoken about is the getting these data from the legacy system or different planning system or different execution system or a flat file into the single platform to carry out your planning. So data integration jobs. This is one of the way. The other is the HANA cloud integration or the cloud platform integration that we have shown earlier in this slide. So through this, you can just download the template and upload it. So download a template, it's very easy. You can just download a template for a master data or a key figure, a time period or a snapshot, and then you can just upload. So you can see that some of the templates have been uploaded by one of the consultant, and there you can have a different symbols, like for example, this is carried out with warning, this is carried out successfully. Then some of the example like a fatal error. So these can be helpful for in order to find out the root cause of any error. So this helps any in master data planner or a data team to help and analyze the data which has been uploaded into the IBP system. Then you have an application job template. Suppose you have different jobs. Let's take an example. First, you want to carry out the historical data, that is the cleansing of the historical data, and then followed by statistical forecast. So suppose let's look into one of the job that I have created here. So here, this particular job, let's go and look into this particular job, and when you will see, so I've just opened this over here. Okay, so here it is open. Now, demand planning initial steps. So what I've done in this particular template is I have merged the 2 different tasks. You can also merge like more than 2, 5, 7, 10. It's up to you. So I've just, for today's example, I've merged 2 of the different tasks like pre-processing step and statistical forecast. So in a pre-processing step, it will just replace some of the outliers or the mean values depending upon the algorithm that I have set up, that I have configured, and then it will carry out the forecasting at a level of a product location customer. So this is how you can just club the different job templates and make it a one job template, and you can carry out. Let's go and look into the Excel. So this is a particular Excel that you will get. This is a particular add-in, and this is the Excel. In add-in, you will be able to sign in on. So suppose let me disconnect it and show you an example. So you will have a logon. You will just select your URL here, and with the user ID and your password, you will be able to sign in into the Excel add-in. So once you have logged in into the Excel add-in, you will have a different option. So all the options are at the top of your bar. So here, if you see, there are different options. We will be looking into all these of the options. So let's take an example of our master data. So once we you can also upload your master data through this particular option in the Excel add-in. apart from the data integration job that we have just seen. So here you can just see that once I just made it a create, and then you can select the master data where you want to make changes, or you can do an edit. So this is how you can play around with the master data in this particular part of the Excel. Then let's go into the templates. So the template that you are seeing with the different options like different graphs, different key figures, and different values, you can actually configure these templates. And as you can see that I have different planning views set up for different requirement. You can just configure it as per the requirement of the client. So you can just upload the templates from here. So like for example, if you want to configure this, you can change the key figures here from here. So let's go and look into one of the template. So here, if you see, I'll just open this demand planning template that is designed for today's webinar. Here you have different options such as the base version. So you can just select the downside version, upside version. The version we will come in the later part of the system demo. Then you have a time profile. Suppose you also want to see the particular values at a different time level. So let's take an example at a week level, and then you also want to look at the month level. So you can just select your month, and you can select the months from here. So when you click OK, then you will be able to see the data at the week and the monthly level as well. Then you have a different options like a key figure. So here, whatever key figure you want to see in this particular template, you can just select it with the unit of measure and different currency conversions. You can just select over here and you can see that. Then you have a filter over here. With the filter, you can restrict your planning view to a certain data, and then you can take actions, or you can take decision, or you can plan it accordingly. So I'll just click cancel here because I've already opened here. I'll upload a new template. So let me just upload a new template, and here we go. So till the time it is getting uploaded, we'll go back into the system and see what all options are there. So now with the application log, suppose you have run one of the jobs like master data upload or a key figure upload, you can go into this particular application log, and you can see that you will be able to see what all jobs you have ran. And from here, if there is any attachment or any error or any warning or any message from the system, then there will be an attachment, and you will be able to see in the attachment, you will be able to download those attachment and see what all causes are there, or what all warnings are there. So let's go back into the home page. Okay, so yeah, this is getting uploaded. So now we'll look into the configuration, the main thing for any consultant. So here in the configuration app, this is how the configuration apps look like. So here we have different options like attribute, master data type, time profile. I'll not go into the detail of all these things, but this is useful for any consultant to design it, to configure it as per the requirement. So suppose a particular, let's take an example of a particular industry, that is the automobile industry, where you have a product ID, that product family, product group, product subfamily. Then you can just make an arrangement or configure it accordingly, and then you include these into a master data type of product, and you can connect it with an ERP system, and then bring in the product family, product group, or product ID from S4 or any other system and into this particular IBP box. Then you have a time profile, the past and the future that you want to plan, that you want to look into the data, that you want to have a visibility over the supply chain. You can configure it through your time profile. Then you have a planning area, then the planning level, and the key figures. The key figures are are the transactional data. It contains the transactional data, and it contains, like, for example, there are different types of key figures basically, such as the alert or the calculated or the stored. When you bring the data in from the third-party system or an ERP system into an IBP, it has to be a stored key figure. So if you're designing an alert, in order to give you an alert or publish an alert, then you will have to have a key figure configured as an alert. So there are different ways that you can just have a key figure and make it a calculated as per your requirement. And then your planning level. So all the planning levels where you want to see the data, where you want to aggregate or do a calculation, you have to configure. So some of the many of these actually come as a standard, but as per the requirement of the client, you can very well do a configuration here. Then I will also give you a quick look of a global configuration and the planning operator. So in a global configuration, basically you can control, or you can design the template, like for example the number of rows should be visible, or number of columns and the rows mix should be visible. So these are few, there are many apart from this. And then there are planning operators, like for example in a supply planning, you want to carry out a heuristics or an optimizer. So you can design your optimizer operator based on the operators, based on the planning operators. So you have, so now you have an SCM profile operator entirely separately in the IBP new versions, but you can have a copy operator, copy and disaggregate operator, or different operators in this planning operator. So let's go and look into this particular app called as Manage Forecast Model. Now, into a Manage Forecast Model, uh, a demand planner or a statistician would like to configure or would like to use a particular algorithm for their forecasting, for their product forecasting. So I have just opened this. We can have a look. Like for example, I've just spoken about the pre-processing step. So suppose in a pre-processing step, sorry for that. So in a pre-processing step, suppose you want to substitute the missing values, so you can just select this particular algorithm. The algorithm can be selected from the plus sign, and then you can have a substitute missing value outlier correction or a promotion sales lift. So these are some of the important things to be carried out before you carry out a forecasting, because if there are promotions in your historical data, you would like to remove those promotions so that you have near to accurate statistical forecast values. Then you can use the different methods for substitution, like for example mean, median, or a given value from the input or from the demand planner. And then how you would like to do it, or for which horizon you would like to do it. What is an input? So input is basically where the value is stored from your third-party system or an ERP system. So suppose in actual quantity key figure, you have the values from your ECC system or an S4, and you want to remove, or you want to insert the values, you want to substitute the missing values into that, and then the final values you want to write it down to the actual quantity adjusted. So this is how you can just select the key figures from here, and you can select the input for algorithm and the save the result in the actual quantity adjusted. This way, if you see, if you look into this particular planning view, you will find that the actual quantity, this is the input for your missing data values, and then you will have the output here. So once I run the pre-processing, you will get this output. So from here, this is the part from where you can execute the job in the Excel add-in. So in the Excel add-in, I will just select the statistical forecast here, and then I will select one of the options here. So suppose I want to run the pre-process. Now, if I want to run the pre-process, I'll select the unit of measure here. And if you want to give a filter, so suppose you want to carry this out, this particular history cleansing for a specific product or for a specific product location combination, or a product location customer combination, then you can select an attribute from here, and you can see that this is so easy to select and to restrict any of the algorithm to a particular group. So if I select this, then it will be carried out for only this particular product. Then in you have a next step, next icon here, like status. So wherein you can see like what is the status. So if you have executed the job, it will come as a scheduled, and then you will see the business log once it is finished. So once it is finished, you will be able to see this business log, and if you download this business log, you will be able to see the comments that the comments against your task. So suppose it, how it has been done, or how is it been executed, whether it's a success or a failure. So all the messages you will be able to find in the show business log. Then you have a schedule option. So suppose you want to carry out a particular job in the night, and then you will have to schedule it. So from here in the Excel add-in, you can very well go and schedule a particular job of a particular operator. So this is how you can go and schedule your job. So once you have completed your historical data cleanse, then you will carry out the statistical forecast. This I have already done it, but we'll see it once again. So once you have a once you have a historical data, then what you would like to do is you would like to carry out the statistical forecast. Now, suppose you are not sure about the data type, so and a demand planner is confused whether or is not sure which model to be applied for a particular data set, then in that case they can use a best fit model as well. So this how this best fit model works. So let's see in a best fit model and see how it works. So in a best fit model, you will go into the forecasting step shown over here, and you will find that I have taken an input as an actuals quantity adjusted, from where I have removed all the missing values and inserted it with the mean. So, and then I would like to write the output of this particular algorithm into this statistical forecast quantity key figure. Now, what I've done is I have added two different algorithms here. So in this two different algorithms, I have given few parameters. So this parameter entirely depends upon the customer or the requirement or the client requirement. And then you have a target key figure for ex post forecast. So this particular key figure is very useful for the best fit model. So how it works is you have an actuals quantity adjusted. So in the past, it will carry out the forecast for the same combination, like for example product location customer, and then from there with the help of actuals quantity adjusted and ex post forecast, they will take the error. So it depends what you have selected. So suppose in a method I've selected the choose best forecast, and here I have selected the MAPE. You have different options, but I have selected as the MAPE. So in a mean absolute percentage error, it will use this particular thing in order to identify which model is suitable for your data set or for your product location customer combination. So in that case, it will sell the better the algorithm. So the lower the error, the better the algorithm, and that algorithm will be selected for the forecasting. So here in the post-processing step, if you want to write this MAPE into a particular key figure, you can just select a particular key figure from here, and then once this particular algorithm is executed, whatever error is the output, it will be written down in this particular key figure. Here I will cancel this out, and here I will cancel this out, and let's go and execute this best fit model. So I'll just select the statistical forecast here, and from the drop down I'll select best fit model at a weekly level, product location customer. I will not add filter, I'll just execute it for all the product location customer, but if you want, you can very well add a filter over here, and I will just execute it. So this particular wizard will appear, and here you can select your reason code and a comment if you want, so that the planner who wants to see why the best fit model was run or executed, they can find out with the comment, and I'll just execute it. So you will see that the job 1921 has been scheduled. Now let's go into the status and see. So here in the status, you will find that job 1921 has been scheduled, and once you refresh it, it will show you the progress of the job. So let's go. Meanwhile, let's go into the IBP Excel add-in and see the other options here. So in a favorite, suppose I carry out any changes in the particular planning view, and I want to share it with the user of a demand planner or with other users, I can very well do it. So if you change any of the cell over here, and you can just add a favorite to it, like for example I have done for few, and you can add it and share it across to different users. So this way the user who is logged into would be able to see this planning view and what all changes have been done. If you want to add a ad hoc filter to it, so you can very well do it from here. This option helps you to add an ad hoc filter. Now this option helps you to save data. So suppose I change data over here and I save it, then that data will be overridden, and I can add it to a favorite and share it. Now from here, simulate. Suppose I have changed the data, and I just want to see how it shows or how the plan looks like, and I don't want to save it, so I can just simulate it with the different options here. So for example, I want to do it for the best fit model. I can just carry out the best fit model simulation. So if I'm happy with that, then I will save it. So in that case, it will be overwritten, or else if you do not save it, it will be refreshed to the original data. From the refresh button, you can actually refresh your planning view. From the dashboard here, if you see, so if I have any alerts added, so let's go and see how I can add an alert. So from an edit planning view, if I add a particular alert into my key figure, and here in a filter, here if in an alert I add this alert, any of the alerts, then I will be able to see if there is any alert generated, I will be able to see in my dashboard. Now, yeah, so let's go and see the status of my forecast and how the data looks like. So it has been finished, and let's see the show business log. You want to see how what all logs have been generated. So here you will be able to see that the system has selected the MAP. Based on the MAP, they have selected the best fit model. So triple exponential smoothing, here the different MAPs and the WMAP values are shown. WMAP because I have selected this WMAP as well. So that is the reason why it is showing the MAP and the WMAP. So if you go here, you will find the following parameter value were defined. It is giving me the different parameter values as well. So this is how you can analyze how the system have selected the automated exponential smoothing or a different statistical forecast. So let's go back into the system again, and we will see then the analyze promotion. Now, suppose let's take a scenario over here. There is an Oktoberfest or a carnival or a Halloween or the Christmas coming up. Now, the Christmas is in December. We need to be prepared with the capacities, with the volumes that we are going to sell. So suppose in the month of December, the planner is pretty much sure, the sales and the marketing people are pretty much sure that they are able to sell a more number of quantity than what is a result of statistical forecast. So let's go back into the system and see. We'll close this thing. Okay, now let's go into the local demand plan. So once the statistical forecast has been executed, I will have my statistical forecast quantity in place. So here, if you see, I will the statistical forecast quantity will be generated once the planning view is uploaded. So let's wait for a couple of minutes. It's writing an EPM function. Okay. And yeah, so let's go into and open this particular app. Okay, so it's there. Now let's see. So once the sales people or the sales and the marketing people have given their values, so here you hear different stakeholders of the supply chain. Suppose the sales head or the marketing head, they want to give some value, so they can just put in here. So let's take that because of the result of the statistical forecast, it is given a 58, but you want to overwrite with 90, suppose, and then you want to add a planning note. So you can very well go and add a planning note. So what is the significance of adding a planning note? So suppose here I mentioned that changed by Shalendra from 58 to 90, and I'll just save this, and I will save this data. So once I save this data, so any planner or any user, if he or she comes across this particular planning view, they will be able to see that yes, this particular data has been changed by Shalendra and from 58 to 90, and I can also write a reason to it. So this is how you can share the information across the users. Now suppose the sales and the marketing people, they want to change this particular value. Now let's see that sales people are pretty much sure of how much quantity they are able to sell. So let's give it an example of 100. So if they write it over here and save this data, this particular data will be copied to your consensus demand plan quantity, and then you can very well copy from consensus demand plan quantity, which is at a level of a product location customer, to a consensus demand where it is at a level of a product customer, and publish this to your supply planner or your inventory planner to carry out your supply planning or heuristics or optimizer or inventory optimization, so that they can take care of the inventory levels, the safety stock, the target safety stocks, and all the capacity levels. They can review those capacities and check back with the capacity planner. So these are some of the options that you can carry out. Now let's go into the promotion planning. So suppose the carnival is coming, and we are sure that this particular product, we are going to sell it more in the month of November. So let this particular planning view get uploaded, and meanwhile we will open this particular app. So I have already opened this app. So here you can see that I have just selected a Carnival and an Oktoberfest, and for a product FG001. So I want to carry out a promotion for this particular product for these two different levels, two different promotion IDs. So in a Carnival and in Oktoberfest, I just want to make sure that this particular product will sell more. So how do I make sure that? Then here, if you see for an FG001, suppose for a customer 1101, I'm sure that in a week 50, I'll be able to sell 800 quantity and not 450 quantity. I will be able to sell more, like 452 plus 800 quantity. Or for a customer 11002, I'll be able to sell in a carnival for week 52. From week 50 to week 52, I'll be able to sell 1000 plus quantities. So what I'll do is I'll just copy this out to here, and I will save this data. So once I save this data, you will be able to see the changes that it gives you to the consensus demand. So now what it will happen, it will overwrite your consensus demand including promotions. So you will have a different value here, where it will say that your promotions have been included in your consensus demand. Now if you are happy with the consensus demand including promotion, then you can publish this to your supply planner or to your inventory planner to carry out the supply planning or inventory optimization. Now you can see the data that has been overwritten. So this is how you can carry out the promotions planning, and it's very flexible. And here you can just configure it where you want to do a promotions planning, at what product and what customer. Suppose you want to do at a customer region level or a customer level, you can do that at a different ways. So here it is, the promotions planning. Now let's go and look into the product life cycle. So product life cycle, suppose a business wants to introduce a particular product, and he or she wants to have a phase in a particular way, and then phase out of the older product in a particular way. So let's go and look into the managed product life cycle app. So here, if you see, what I have done is I have replaced the FG001 with FG002. You can see here it's an active, and what I have given it a weightage of 100. So what I've set here is FG002 is going to replace your FG001, and the history only exists for FG001. Let me go into the view. Here is my product lifecycle management template, and here if you see, my FG002 product will not have any of the historical data. The historical data will only exist for FG001. So let the template get uploaded. Okay. So let's look into this particular thing. Now it's active. Let's go inside this, where FG002 is going to replace your FG001. Now how it is going to replace it? So this is important. Now this status is important. The status has been set as active. So once it has been set as active, you can actually replace it. Now look, your FG002 is going to replace your FG001. So FG001 becomes your reference product. Now how do you want to do it? So here what I have done is I have selected a customer country. So in France, I will be replacing FG001 with FG002. So if you look into the template here, in particular France, you do not have a historical data for FG002. You do not have an historical data, and you do not have a statistical forecast, but you have a historical data for FG001 in France, Great Britain, and Denmark. So here you have this, and you have a statistical forecast as well. Now I want to replace this particular product, is replace FG001 with FG002 in France only. So I've configured it likewise for France only, and I have set in the phase-in dates. The phase-in starts at the 11th of November and it will end in 30th of November. So 2nd of November and 30th of November. So let's go and run one of the algorithm in order to carry out the product life cycle. So what I'll do is I'll quickly select the particular algorithm. So this is the algorithm that has been selected for the forecast, for the product lifecycle management. I'll select the unit of measure. You can go and select here the attributes. So suppose you want to carry this out only for FG002 and FG001, you can select the product from here, but I don't want to do it. I just carry this out for all, and we'll see, because I have only FG002 which is going to replace FG001. So anyways, it will only replace FG001 in France. Let's go and look into the status of the statistical. It is scheduled. So meanwhile, when it has been scheduled, let's go and look into the different options here. So you have a scenario over here. So in a scenario, it's different from the versions. So in a version, you have upside version, you have a downside version, you have a new product introduction version as well. Suppose you want to introduce a new product and you want to see how your supply planning looks like, then you can very well create a version such as the new product introduction, and wherein you can create a master data, new master data. A new product is a new master data with the location and customer, and you can carry out this planning. So that's a difference between the version and a scenario, where in a scenario you cannot create a new master data, but you can carry out a planning. So we will be looking into this one option. So let's look into the status of the statistical algorithm that we have just carried out. So forecast for NPI, it is finished. Now let's refresh this. So the refresh is taking place. Okay. Okay, and we will be able to see that the statistical forecast quantity for the France for this particular product, we have new values, even though we do not have a historical data. And as expected, the FG001 for France will phase out. So it will be completely replaced after 30th of November. So this is how you can just carry out the new product introduction, product lifecycle management on fly. Now let's go and look into an example of a scenario. So here in a promotion planning, we will see how we can just carry out a scenario. So what I'll do here is I'll make some changes. So what I'll do is I'll create one scenario, the scenario upside 100. Okay, since here I've already added 1000. So let's add 100 to it, and let's see how the value looks like. So here what I'll do is I'll just create a scenario, a new scenario here. So I'll just give here a name, upside 100, same description, and here if you see, you can just share it with the different users, and here I'm saving it. Now look, it will create a new scenario called as upside 100. A new column would be added with the scenario. So once this is uploaded, this particular planning view, you will see a new scenario upload. So meanwhile, when it is taking time, we'll just go into and see the analytics. So one of the very best features of the IBP, that is the analytics and the dashboard. So here in the analytics, you can just create a different analytics like chart you can create, or alerts, customer alerts that we use it in our control tower, or you can just create a supply chain network. So I have created few of them and I'll show you in the desktop. So in the desktop, in the dashboard, what I have done is I have added those alerts into this particular demand planning template. So in this particular dashboard, demand planning dashboard, we will be able to see the different charts that I have added. So a few of them. So meanwhile it is getting uploaded. Okay, so it has been done. So let's see. So these are few of the analytics that I have added here. Now look here. So this is some of the beautiful features here. This shows like where your warehouse, where your plants are, and where your suppliers are. And so this is how you can just map it in the based on the geolocations of the supplier, of your plants, of your warehouse, of your customer, and you can just plan it. So based on the volume of the customer, you can just have it in the geolocations in the form of a bubble charts. You can also have a heat map for an ABC XYZ segmentation, and you can carry out your planning. Suppose a customer or a client is only interested in carrying out the statistical forecast for AX, AY, AZ product, BX and BY product. So this way, if you carry out your ABC and XYZ segmentation, you can add those filters. So a filter in your statistical forecast. So in your statistical forecast, suppose I try to execute my forecasting algorithm, and I just want to add for it for AX, AY, AZ and BX, BY. I can select those in the filter. Remember, in the filter we can add an attribute. So in an attribute, I can just select A, B, C and XYZ, and there I can add A, B, and for an XYZ attribute, I can just add X and Y. So these are some of the beautiful charts that you can just prepare it and you can share it. So at the end of the demand review, suppose at the 6th day of the demand review, you would like to monitor your demand plan. This is some of the features that can help you in monitoring demand plan. Let's go and look into one of the feature called as define and subscribe to custom alert. That's the control tower. So in a control tower, we can just define some of the custom alerts. So for today's webinar, what I've done is I have given an alert where a sales forecast quantity, if it is more than equal to your 130% of your local demand plan, it will generate an alert. So let's go back into the system, into my local demand plan. So meanwhile it is getting uploaded, we'll see that it can also be shared across. So if you go into a sharing, I can add a user here and user groups here. So a number of users or within a group can be added, and we can share this custom alerts so that particular person can also view those custom alerts. So this is how I have just configured it. And the Excel template, so I've added an Excel template. I'll show you the significance of this particular Excel template, that how it is useful. So now if my sales forecast quantity is greater than 130% of your local demand plan, so what I'll do is I'll increase it to much higher value. Let's increase this to much higher value and save this. So for week 48, I have increased it to 10,000 values. Now we will also see the significance of adding the Excel template to the custom alert overview. So once it is saved, when I go into my app of monitor custom alerts, I'll be able to see that this alert has been generated, and from there only I can change this value and set it to so that I can remove those alerts. So now it has been saved. Let's go back, go to home page, select my monitor custom alert. So here so different alerts has been generated based on the more than 130%. So for this particular, we will see where it has been generated. Okay, so let's go into this. Go to Excel. In the desktop, we will just save this. We'll open this, and you will be able to see a particular template that will only have a key figures, that is sales forecast quantity and the local demand plan quantity, with the following combination of product family, product, location, and customer. So, okay, I have done this on a scenario of upside 100, so it might not appear. That's why it was not appearing for this 10,000. For this to appear, I will have to make this change for, let me go back to my template again. Okay, edit, select the baseline. Okay, this is there. Now, what I'll do is, I'll remove the upside 100 from here. Okay, okay. So now I will change the value in the baseline, because this, what I've done is in the upside 100. That's why it was not appearing in my alert view. I'll go back into this app. Okay. Yes, we have it in the baseline. Now, what I'll do is I'll just change it to some arbitrary value. Okay. Remember, this is for week 48, 10,000. Save this data at the baseline, because I've configured the custom alert overview for the baseline and not for the scenario. So scenario is like you can create it, and then you can promote it, or you can manage it, or you can delete it. So whatever I've done is for the base version. You can do it for the upside version or downside version, but not for a scenario. So that's the reason why we were not able to see this particular alert in our monitor custom alert view app. Yes, this has been done. So week 48, we'll go back into the monitor custom alerts. Okay. Okay, there could be some glitch here. I'm not sure why it is not appearing. Okay, so this has done. Yeah. So here you can see for week 48, it has appeared with the 10,000 value that I have just uploaded. So what I'll do is I'll go to Excel. I'll just click here, save this, open this app, open this Excel sheet. So once the Excel sheet is open, I can change the value in this particular sheet, and it will disappear, or it will be overridden in the main planning view. So yeah, the sheet is getting uploaded now. Okay. Okay, it's taking some time because the amount of data is too high. That's the reason why it's taking some time. So look, week 48, if you compare it with this week 48, you will find that here it is 10,000. Now let's make it 114. Okay, so that the alert, we can remove the alert. Now let's save this data here. Okay, the moment I save this data, it will also disappear from the monitor alert overview app. Look, it has been removed from here because it has been uploaded, since it is carrying out some background job, but it has been uploaded, and that's the reason why we are not able to see here the alert anymore. So that alert has been removed. Now We will also see in the main template. So in the main template, if I refresh it, it will go away. Okay, restoring Excel calculation, updating function. Okay, meanwhile, I'll also show one of the things that is the how to maintain the user group. So in a user group app, you can just maintain like different groups. So for example, for a demand review, you want to have a demand. Then for a supply, you want to have a supply. For an executive or pre-executive, like I have just created in a demand, you can just create the mention the users here and where they can be, where they can use it. So this is how you can just create the user group and restrict the control also or share it with different users. So this is very helpful. Now look at here. This has just been overridden. So this is how just you can have a visibility across the supply chain and you can share it with the different groups, with the different users, and you can monitor and you can see how it affects your supply chain. So, and one more thing that here in the particular thing, you have this particular icon here, promotion. From if you click over here, it will directly navigate you to the promotions app that is there in the web URL. And from here, you can go into the web URL that is this particular app from in the home page. Okay, now, yeah, so back to our presentation here. Now, then how SAP IBP helps achieve the business goals. So with the help of the integrated business planning tool, what we have seen is a considerable reduction in inventory, reduction in out of stock situations, improvement in planner productivity, shorter lead to market for new product introduction that we have just seen how we can just limit this or how flexible this is. So a better demand and supply balance, better user engagement, faster planning cycle, consistent planning processes. This helps business to achieve your goals by the use of SAP IBP. Now, still thinking why SAP IBP? So it provides best integration with SAP and BI existing environments. SAP IBP provides an end-to-end visibility of your supply chain. Plan with real-time data, Excel interface, and web user interface provides a better user experience. HANA and IBP enable evolution to next generation real-time supply chain platform. Advanced planning algorithms and powerful analytics help industries to boost businesses and improve your inventory level and reduce cost. So here are some of the key lessons learned from our previous project. So reduction in inventory levels significantly. Yes, we have seen this, and there are reports from the client that they have seen a considerable reduction in the inventory levels. The improve in the forecast, the more collaborative planning. Now there are no more siloed planning. They are more collaborative with the use of these JAM, with the use of the sharing of information within the users, within the groups, within the stakeholders, becomes more collaborative. Excel based planning is easier to train and adapt. So this was one of the biggest challenge. So the organization change management. So with the use of the Excel based planning, it becomes very easier to train and adapt in weekly, monthly planning. Implementation time for project has been reduced considerably. So 6 to 8 months, it's all take to implement a greenfield implementation for an IBP, to integrate it with an APO or an SAP ECC or an S4 or any third-party system. And with continuous update that SAP has been providing with the tool, it becomes more user-friendly, more fast, and more efficient. So with this, we are end with the today's webinar. Over to you, Rachel. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Shailendra. It looks like we have a couple minutes here to answer some questions that have come in. So the first question is, can we have more than one product as a reference for new product introduction?
Yeah, so exactly. So we have seen one of the cases where, so let's go into the managed product lifecycle. Here is the app. So once we go inside this app, you will be able to see that this product I'm replacing FG001, but I can also add more than one reference product. So what I can do is here, if you see, I've added FG002 as well. So once I get started with the actual history of FG002, I can give this also as a reference to it. I can add more than one, two, three, four. I can give more than 100% weightage as well. So I can give like this particular product 100%, a 200%, or 300%, depending upon the nature of the product, depending on the characteristic of the product. If it isn't, if I'm sure that in a particular region, this new product can be can be more sellable, can be double the sellable of the existing product, I can give a 200%. So it entirely depends upon the client to client, and it's basically dependent on the requirement that we can have from the client. So yes, we can add more than one product as a reference product. Yes, Rachel, next question please.
Great. Second question is there a way to identify the nature of time series data if a planner is not sure about it?
Yeah, so one of the method I have explained. So if suppose the planner is not sure about the nature of the data and then confused or about the algorithm, so they can use the best fit model that I have already explained. When the best fit model, you can just add more than one algorithm, and with the use of the error measure, the tool will select the best appropriate model. But there is one more app that has recently been introduced, is the manage forecast automation profile. So here what you will have to do is planner can just have a calculation at different levels, suppose product customer level, product family customer level, and at different levels, and the system will populate the data. So if you have like increasing data, then you can take take decision that it's an increasing trend. So this particular app can also help you in analyzing your time series data, how the data looks like, whether it's an increasing trend or a decreasing trend or it's a flat trend. So if you are not sure about the nature of data, you can use this particular method as well. Yes, Rachel, any other question?
Thank you, Shailendra. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. If we didn't get to your question, we'll be sure to follow up with you after the webinar. We'll also be sending out the slides to everyone in the next couple of days, so keep an eye out for those. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and we'll see you next time.